welcome to This Racing Life, and it's a very special one this week. We are in Kildare, it's absolutely buzzing, and we're at the launch of the Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby. We've only a few weeks to the Derby now, and this is a special night in Kildare because 5 of Ireland's top jockeys are behind me in a cooking challenge, no less. Who's going to win? Let's get our teeth into it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome to the square in Kildare town, of course, for the launch of the 2023 Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby. We've got a stellar panel of judges. Willie McCreary, it'll take more than an omelette to fill him, won't it?
He's never happy anyway, Kevin, is he?
No, he's not. Tell you, Fran, I'm happy with the way he's cracking the eggs and that, yeah?
He's got a good method.
There's no shells. There you are.
Seven.
Hey.
Seven.
Hey.
Evan Arkwright, it says behind us Kildare Derby Festival, more than the race. You've been involved with Curra for a long time. What does that mean, more than the race?
There's probably, I suppose, here we are, Johnny, in the middle of Kildare Square, in a lovely environment, launching both the Kildare Derby Festival and the Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby Festival at the Curra. So yes, I suppose it's promoting the fact that yes, the Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby is very much the centre of the focus of what we're launching today. But there's so much more, I suppose, to the Derby Festival with regards to events here in the town and obviously all the ancillary events that will happen at the racecourse as well.
Kildare town itself has really, it's built up a lot in recent years, and some buzz around it in the heat wave that we're having. Yeah,
absolutely, it's brilliant. It really is, and for us the most important thing now is bringing the Derby back to its roots, back into the town of Kildare, getting the locals really, really engaged, and therefore why we wanted to launch it in the square, get the local businesses involved, get the jockeys involved in something that's fun and engaging, but ultimately get people in the area excited to come to the races, and then hopefully will generate lots of business for the businesses in the town. The restaurants, the bars, etc. will hopefully be packed over the week. It kicks off on the Wednesday evening before Derby weekend with a really lovely concert in the St. Bridget's Cathedral here, very historic building with Claudia Boyle, a leading soprano. We have the Pooch Parade where we're standing here in the square. Everyone brings their pets out for a Pooch Parade, which is like the crufts of the Kildare. Friday night then everyone comes racing for Funky Friday. We have Ladies' Day on the Saturday, Kildare Village Ladies Derby race, and the Pretty Polly being the centre of the focus, and then a big concert here in the square with Nathan Carter, free concert for the public, so the place will be absolutely buzzing, and that sets us up then for Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby Day on Sunday, and lots happening, style, music, all that you'd want in a really great sporting and social occasion.
Where's the egg gone, Chesney?
No, not in yet.
Oh.
Yeah, we do it backwards in hearts.
Okay, yeah. Right.
A bit like Fran Berry's presenting. God, I can't wait till you give one a bad ride again. Tune in tomorrow. Like when I first came here, I thought there was always a buzz for about 2 weeks before there was things being done in the town. You always came here. The old setup was you'd finish in Down Royal for the Ulster Harp Derby the Saturday before. There was no racing on the Sunday, and we'd all meet up here then on the Saturday night, and that was kind of the real buzz factor then. You were looking forward then on Monday for entries and things like that. So it's great to see a crowd back, and like the new Curra, the revamped Curra, it does need a little bit of support. COVID didn't help, so hopefully this will. To me, Derby weekend is the best of the racing we have. It's the classic generation taking each other on, and it's great to see that, I won't say the also-rans, but the horses that took part in the Derby in Epsom that maybe didn't get the rub of the green are realising that come over here, you're going to get a fair crack at a whip. Draw bias doesn't really play into it at the 1.5 miles. A stiff incline, a run down into the straight, and you have a long straight to play your cards. So you have the best of the best taking each other on, and the likes of this, it's great to see this. This reminds me of when I first moved to Kildare, so I think it's the best meeting of the whole season at the Curra. Bit of pepper, no?
relax, will you, Fran? You're getting very excited there, Fran.
Sindar, Alamshire, Fame and Glory and Cape Blanco. I think it's fair to say Johnny Murtagh has been involved in some of the more iconic renewals of the Irish Derby as a jockey. He's now of course training, and he caught up with Donn McClean.
Sindar wins it by a big margin. Sindar wins the Derby.
Johnny, the Irish Derby, it's a race you've won 4 times in the past. Can we maybe talk through those 4 wins, starting with Sindar in 2000? Was there pressure on you going into that? Because he was the Epsom Derby winner coming on there.
It is, yeah. There's always pressure coming back to the Curragh, especially if you have to win an Epsom. You know, you're the champion, you're on home turf. I really wanted the horse to do it. We thought he'd come out with Epsom really, really well, and you know there was $1 million bonus that year if you did the Epsom Derby double. So there was. I remember the night before thinking about, you know, big race, and really, you know, really hoped that the horse would do it on home soil. But thankfully, at halfway it was a little bit.
Yeah. I remember.
It wasn't going according to plan. He came off the bridle early for some reason, and I was scrubbing him along. But as soon as he got on the straight, and I gave him a couple of backhanders, he stretched right away. I think he won by 10 lengths. He was a very, very good winner. He was a very, very good horse, and he was after having a tough campaign up until then. You know what I mean, with the, you know, the trial, Epsom, and then on to the Curragh. But he stretched right away, and he was a very impressive winner on the day. But it was nice. It was nice to get the job done.
And wearing the Agacan's colours, obviously Shergar, Shahrastani, Kayazi. Do you remember those winning the Irish Derby before that?
I was just remember the first flat race I ever remember watching was Shergar winning the Epsom Derby. I was 11. My uncle brought me out to. We were outside, and he says, "Oh, come on in." It was a Wednesday. I remember it was a Wednesday. The Derby used to be on a Wednesday, and we came in, and I remember these green colours streaking away down in Epsom, horse's tongue hanging out, and I remember saying this young boy riding this brilliant horse, and that was the first flat race I ever seen. So not so many years later, to be in those famous colours, to win the Epsom Derby, and to come back and then to be the champion coming back to the Curragh, very, very special, very special. And when I look back at it now, even more special.
Yeah, exactly, the way the wheel turns around, and plenty of Agacan horses here as well. And a couple of years later, Alamshire was your next Irish Derby winner, the Agacans as well, but you didn't wear the green colours with the red epaulets. You were in the old Agacan silks. Yeah, well, it was very very sporting of His Highness to do that, because Dalacani won the French Derby, and Alamshire was after running third in Epsom. Bit unlucky, you know, he was a bit unlucky. So we were in the second colours. So I remember the race, you know, I planned to follow Sumion all the way because he was on a big favourite. Dalacani was the big favourite, and a couple of Aidan's pacemakers went a very strong gallop, and Sumion kind of sat close enough to the pace, and I remember attacking him early, just before he even got a breather into his. I just attacked him early, and in fairness to Alamshire, he answered every call that day, and he came out on top, and I kind of felt like it was a home victory. There's no way, you know, the French champion was coming over to beat the Irish horse in the Curragh. And the crowd, it was a great reception I got that day. The crowd was really, it felt like Ireland against France, really, you know. And but he was good on the day, Alamshire, and he went on. And after that race, I think His Highness's team says Alamshire can go to the King George, and Dalacani can go to the Ark. And Alamshire won the King George, and Dalacani went on and won the Ark. So, you know, competition is always good, and the Irish Derby is probably lacking that now at the moment. We're lacking the French champion coming over, taking on maybe the English Derby winner, and then a couple of the locals as well. But that's what it's missed a little bit at the moment. And but on that day, it did feel like a real Ireland against France. The ride you gave Alamshire as well, and as you said, Dalacani was fairly far forward, just behind the pace. You must have got a great kick out of that, did you? I did, and Christophe Soumillon was kind of His Highness's jockey in France, and I was riding for him in Ireland. So, you know, this Super Soumillon was coming over, so I couldn't wait to get upside Super Soumillon on that day, and listen, it all worked well in my favour. But yeah, it was like in that kind of way. I just wanted to
beat Simeon.
And then of course Fame and Glory, I suppose Fame and Glory was great. You didn't see the stars to contend with on the day, as
yeah,
it
was yeah, nice to wake up that morning and say that the John Ox was after taking see the stars out because the ground. But we really had a lot of faith in Fame and Glory that day. He was going really well at the time. Mile and a half of the Curragh was really going to suit him. Pretty straightforward. I kind of followed the pace and took it up 2 down. And in all fairness to the horse, he stretched right away. He was a very, very good horse on his day. Stayed really well. Was hoping See the Stars was going to run because the ground was on the slow side of good, and maybe that would have slowed him up a little bit. But kind of glad when you look back at it now that he wasn't there.
I suppose he was just unlucky, wasn't he, to be born in the same year as See the Stars?
He was, yeah, he was. And there was a few Ballydoyle horses a bit unlucky that year to be born to say, because we had some great horses that year, you know, like Fame and Glory, Master Craftsman, Rip Van Winkle. We had some really top horses down there, and we just born in the wrong year.
Yeah, but he got his Irish Derby win on the board.
He did, no, he won the Irish Derby fair and square, and as I said, on the day, you know, on the day he was very, very good.
Yeah, and then Cape Blanco was your fourth. I suppose Aidan O'Brien had a good few runners in that race. Was it difficult?
It was, yeah. It was very difficult. You know, I rode all the horses on the Tuesday before the race, and they all worked separately with their lead horses. And like I was very undecided what horse I was going to ride, and I rang Aidan just before declarations, and he goes, "No, you ride Cape Blanco." And I went back and watched the videos again and watched the comments again, and I rang Aidan, "Are you sure? Are you sure, Aidan?" He said, "If you want to win the Irish Derby, you ride Cape Blanco." So listen, I came and I beat. I'm not sure what was second there. Colin O'Donoghue.
Yeah, Midas Touch.
Midas Touch was second. He just got up and beat my neck. It was a great race. It was, you know, very, very competitive. And he was a solid horse. He was after winning the Dante. He probably wasn't the easiest horse to train and keep sound, but you know, to win another Irish Derby on home soil, it was, you know, it's a huge weekend. It's a huge race, and I was glad Aidan O'Brien pointed me in the right direction.
Not bad, Bill. Not bad.
He's done this before, Fran.
That's music to Billy's ears.
Oh, jeez, Billy! Oi, 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 oi!
Very good, very good.
The pressure's getting down, man, Billy.
So when Phoenix of Spain had his big day so close to here at the Curragh in 2019, winning the Irish Guineas, it was no big surprise that the national stud snapped him up as a stallion. Now he's had his first runners this year in 2023, and Fran Berry caught up with the grey.
Well, a beautiful day to get down here to the Irish National Stud, of course, quite close to the Curragh racecourse. And on that team, it's great to get a look at Phoenix of Spain, a brilliant winner of the 2019 Irish 2000 Guineas. Gary Swift, it's great to see you here and get a look at this stallion that's making a real impact in his first season.
Thanks for dropping in, Fran. Yeah, look, he's very exciting at the moment. He's had 9 runners, 4 of them are winners. We always thought, you know, his horses are such big, physically imposing horses that we, like himself, we thought it would take a little bit of time for them to come to hand this summer, and everything after the July meeting might be, you know, when we get excited when they start running over 7 or 8 furlongs. But they've shown a lot of precocity, as he did himself. He put on the 80 or 90 kilos, and his first run back was the Irish Guineas. Jumped out, made all, never touched, which is not what you think of when you think of the Irish Guineas. It was on good ground. I think looking back on it, it was one of the better Guineas in the previous 50 or 60 years, whereas all the good European colts turned up. And sure, he annihilated a high class field. Too Darn Hot was there, Magna Grecia again was there. I mean, he put them to bed very quickly.
He did indeed. Some great scenes in the winners' enclosure afterwards, not only with the connections, but I think there's a good few of the Irish National Stud people involved in the winners' enclosure. It was great to see.
Yeah, so he was bought in the October and leased back to Mrs. Plummer to race on in her colours, which is what she wanted and we were very comfortable with. A very easy deal to do. She's a fantastic lady, herself and her late partner Tony, and it just really worked. You know, it worked really easily. The deal was done. The horse went and won the Guineas, as we were delighted, but it had all been quite quiet at that time. He hadn't been syndicated as such. We just purchased him. I had my kids with me on the day. I think I threw my little fella, was only 2 or 3 at the time. I threw him up into the air. I was still waiting for him to come down.
Recently there was some good results. Gerline's having a fantastic winner, Roscommon, by Phoenix Spain winning impressively. Hatem running a cracker in the woodcut at Epsom. Yeah, Spanish Flame looks very exciting. Ger made no secret of the fact that he liked the horse an awful lot back in the spring. I think he entered him in a Roscommon meeting that was cancelled. You wouldn't think it today, but because it was waterlogged. And then ran him in Leopardstown. He ran very promising to be 3rd, and then comes back to Roscommon and wins doing handstands really. Bred by a shareholder of ours, Mr. Timoshenko, which makes it a nice little completion of that circle. But look, he looks top class, and Ger has made no bones about that he's believed him to be a group horse from the early days, you know. Indeed, and it's great to get a look at him here this morning. He's let down very well to be a fine horse, a fine stallion, but what are his best attributes? What do you see in him, or what attracted you to him? His physicality was the first thing that struck me. Another team member in the nominations team, Patrick Diamond, who's now at Castlebridge, he was determined that we would go and see him. He kind of identified him in around the Acomb time. So when we got to go and see him, his physicality to me he was so imposing. When I stood into him, and you can't see over his withers as a 2-year-old, you're kind of going, this horse shouldn't be able to do what he's done as a 2-year-old, because the other horses were ready-made 2-year-olds. So his walk, his physicality, and you've seen him there today yourself, when he has always done it. He's shown himself beautifully. So when he comes out and he stands up, he's so imposing. And Mick Fitzpatrick, that sold him as yearling, would tell you he was like that from the day he first saw him in Newmarket as a foal. He always showed beautifully, and he's been a consummate professional all along.
He's a very relaxed stallion. He's been here 4 years now, and well, nearly 4 years. He's taken to his new job like duck to water, and he's quite relaxed, and he's very good at his job, and he loves it basically. Always an exciting time. You get a couple of years obviously of covering, but then you get, you know, a horse getting the track this year. Must have been a big thing for you and your team to see how he's going to progress with his progeny. It's very exciting. It's one thing you look forward to every year with a new stallion that has his first runners, to when he's going to have his first runner, and then obviously to get his first winner. So it was great to see that he got his first winner quite early in the season. So hopefully they will continue throughout the rest of the year, and we'll have plenty of winners. Indeed, and only till you see him here in the flesh today. I remember seeing him when he won the Irish Guineas. He's a big unit. For him to get in juvenile winners at this stage of the season must be very pleasing. Yes, it is. Yeah, he's quite a big horse, as you say. He's 16'2". He covers plenty of ground, but he was quite a precocious 2-year-old himself. So it really doesn't surprise me that he's got some early 2-year-olds out so far. So he should have plenty to come during the season, and they should get better with time. Quite time of the year for him now. The season's effectively over. How do you deal with him from now until he gets going again? Pretty much he's in the paddock every day, enjoying the sunshine. We just leave him be horses. We don't interfere with them at all. They love being out, but they love coming in then in the evening time as well. So pretty much that's the routine up until November, and we start walker and lunging to get ready for the upcoming season. You'd like to think that those horses like Spanish Flame, Hatem, and Shaw's Phoenix, you'd like to think that they'll progress into black type. They look like black type horses, and he has another 40 or 52-year-olds that we haven't heard of. He has 100 to run from, so you would like to think that there's a lot more to come after that July marker. Do you know? Black type horse is what it's all about. You can have plenty of ordinary winners, and you will not succeed as a sire. The longevity is the Group 1 winners and the group horses. I think this horse is he's got them to come, you know.
You stand back out of the way of the pan, will you?
Well, for so many years, the Currabeg Stables have housed some of the best horses in the country, including many Irish Derby winners, and of course for many years synonymous with John Ox. Now, John Ox has retired, but John O'Donoghue has taken over at the Currabeg Stables. He's in his second year as a trainer. Quite an impression he's making as well, as he told Donn McClean.
This place, it's amazing, the history of the place, and you know, history going back to like all the John Ox horses. They've all been here. Is it like, what's it like for you being here?
It's surreal, to be honest. I spent a little bit of time here in my teens, early 20s, and I've said it before when people ask it, I was even a bit starstruck, even meeting Mr. Ox for the first time, and the huge team that was here, human and equine. It was a big thing to be in Currabeg back then. So to be here, trying to put our own stamp on things and you know, modernising the different parts of it and pushing our business. It's I just didn't think it would happen in the first 2 years in Currabeg. You know, we thought start somewhere smaller and maybe move into a nicer yard, but to get the opportunity to start and to build from here, it's huge.
And you spent good time with good trainers along the way. You started with TJ Nagle down your local place down in Mallow. You told me earlier TJ Nagle was in the same class as your dad. Yeah,
they were in school together, so I was on ponies and messing around and until TJ got a hold of me and ironed me out.
Yeah, and you spent time with John, then you were with Jamie Osborne, and then joined David Amara, and somewhere along the way you got the time to do a law degree as well.
Yeah, summers were, you know, I got as soon as I could drive, I got in the car and went to England, and was very fortunate that I hit the summer that Toast of New York was in Jamie's, and with all his sort of prep ahead of the Breeders' Cup, and yeah, I came back, finished the degree, and then went into legal practice briefly, and the job came up with David O'Mara, so I went over to Yorkshire.
And was that always then in your mind that you wanted to get back into horses and wanted to train?
It was, but I was hiding it from my mother. But I always wanted to train from an early age, and I just couldn't quite shake it. You know, you try different things and flirt with different careers or career paths, but training was number one.
So the big job was assistant trainer with Roger Varian, which Roger Varian, obviously, I suppose that was, maybe he was just getting, or maybe he was Group 1, had all those Group 1 horses at the time. Defoe was there at the time as well.
Yeah, I came after he had moved, so he started in Kremlin and then took Clyde Britton's old yard in Carlsberg. So I got there when the business was up and running, and he was flying. But we always had the draw of home, you know, Jody and I. But the Curra was a big appeal, and yard availability was sort of key, and it just timing was perfect.
It's like a dream come true, to be honest. I mean, if you said to us a couple of years ago we'd be here in Currabeg, you know, having started training here, I mean, it's just unbelievable, really. So, you know, it's going well. First season we got a few nice winners, and we've had a good start to this season, so hopefully it continues.
And you're an integral part, obviously, of the operation here. What does your role entail, or is it just pretty much everything?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm quite busy with other things going on at the moment as well. We've just had a new baby, but I'm very much in the business side of things, which kind of allows John to focus on the horses and the training of the horses. The ownership is something that I really enjoy. I love getting out there, getting the shots, talking to the owners. I go racing and just help John whatever way I can.
Well, you've obviously been fairly successful because you've got a really good cross-section of owners here now. Yeah, we've been extremely lucky. So, like some of the owners that have supported us, I couldn't be more grateful to them, really. We just sent letters to people before we came back, just asked them to support us. I think it was a massive draw starting at Currabeg. You know, they were keen to support the new person coming in after Mr. Ox. We also have some nice syndicates, which are great fun. We've created some partnerships between some owners,
We own a couple with some partners ourselves, and as I said, the syndicates are great fun to have. We've some really good bunches of lads, so a nice cross section, as you said, which is a good balance, I think, to have.
Yeah, and of course in Currabeg Stables, John Knox, obviously this was his home for so many years, and he's a little bit of a mentor to you at the moment, isn't he?
Oh, like, we've been so lucky to have the Oxes on our side. From the day that John spoke to Mr. Ox about renting the yard, they couldn't be anything but more helpful. Everything from starting up, who to speak to, you know, coming from England after so many years, you know, we didn't really know who to go to. It was during COVID. The Curragh were really helpful, and Mrs. Ox has been a great help to me setting up the business. Any questions, and anytime John needs anything, you know, it's great to have someone like that.
You came here in 2021, had your first runners in 2022. Was that a big upward trajectory to get to a point where you had runners even?
It was, yeah. We tried to strategize and try and get a few winners on the board as early as we could, you know, and not have that hanging over you. But didn't quite happen with the first one or two, and thankfully Colin Clishter got it done in April at the Curragh, which was nice, and then the 2-year-olds started running and a few of them did well, and then they got, you know, rudely awakened to the strength of Irish racing, and I think we're in a better position now this year. Started well, winners are kind of trickling in, and a few big targets now for the summer.
John, we've just seen Kingswood do a piece of work there up the Old Vic. How's he been since the Gala?
Yeah, very good, Don. Yeah, I'm delighted with him. What you saw this morning is just routine. He's got a lead horse that has gotten him to his races thus far, so he just came up the middle of the Old Vic, quick and past him for half a furlong. Ears pricked, so that's nice.
He holds an entry in the Irish Derby. You think he's likely to take that entry up?
We'll take a good look at it, yeah. That'll be the next target, and we will just hope for some rain.
He was always going to get into the final, wasn't he? Conflict of interest. Willie on the panel.
Keep bringing that up, but there's no brown envelope in the back pocket, so he's alright.
Billy, you've just won.
Oh,
hey!
Thanks, Brian.
Hey!
Donn Murtagh, chairperson of the Kildare Derby Festival tonight with some buzz.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have the atmosphere around the town and to kickstart the festival and get it going. I took up the mantle here for this with a very good committee behind me, and we just decided we wanted. It's 40 years in operation, but just needed a kickstart and to bring the next generation into the racing and into the festival. And just, it's great to see, like I keep saying it, a lot of the jockeys historically, they're number cloths, and you don't see them with their helmets, so you get to see the personality of the boys, and you can imagine what the banter in the wear room is like, you know, with a glimpse of what we had tonight.
They're great jockeys, lovely lads. But I mean, why would you ask jockeys to do a cook-off? They don't eat, they don't know how to cook, they're starving themselves the whole time. I mean, I wanted a bit of substance, and I didn't get it today, but they were tasty little bites, tasty little snacks.
You wanted more than an omelette?
I wanted more than an omelette. Yeah. I was hoping steak would be cooked, a bit of local lamb off the Curragh or something like that, but we got omelettes.
We get national hunt jockeys next year.
National hunt? No, they're all like, get the trainers to cook for the jockeys. Do you know what I mean? Look at the size of all the trainers, are all big fat lads. They're surely able to cook.
Get up there. Billy Lee, all the way from YouTube videos to winning, you know, great Group 1s, it's all about winning for you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, fierce competitive. The nerves are there, shattered. No.
You didn't show the nerves though.
I did, look, I'm sweating under the armrests and everything. I know, it was good crack, and you know, Brian in the second Thomas gave me a great help, so he put me at ease there when I was cooking.
Ashley, do you remember all the ingredients in the omelette?
Slightly. Well, they must have liked it because it wasn't presented well, and but it looked tasty. I ate it, and so look, it looked tasty, and thank God, sure, look, that they enjoyed it.
Presentation is overrated, although you would ride a bit different to that now. Presentation's a big thing for you.
Presentation is a little bit overrated. It's all about getting the job done.
But you're all about style.
No, getting the job done.
Like to thank our judges, Willie McCreary, Johnny Murtagh, and of course Brian Redmond as well, and all of you for coming here this evening. And lads, we look forward to seeing you all in the Curragh.
That's all for this week's episode of This Racing Life. Congratulations to the Silken Thomas and the one and only Billy Lee for winning the Big Jockeys Challenge. It's been a lot of fun here in the sun in Kildare. We'll be back soon.
Subscribe to Racing TV's YouTube channel now to watch more great races like this.